Are you having trouble locating the copyright owner? Well, this video will explain how people can use orphan works under the proposed new copyright exceptions. Orphan works are works where the copyright owner cannot be identified, meaning it is difficult for proposed users to seek permission to reproduce them. An orphan work can be any type of work in which copyright subsists, such as paintings, written works, photographs, and sound recordings. Under the current Copyright Act, there is no specific provision in relation to the use of orphan works. Unless covered by an exception or license, the use of an orphan work may amount to an infringement of copyright. The process of identifying rights holders in order to license works is time-consuming, costly, and at times impossible. This results in a plethora of works which are protected by copyright but are unusable. This inability to use orphan works means that their productive and beneficial uses are lost to both users and copyright holders. In August 2020, the federal government proposed significant reforms to the Copyright Act, following 2 years of extensive stakeholder consultation. The need for change has been further highlighted during the COVID-19 pandemic, with schools, universities, cultural institutions, and governments moving more services online. So what do these changes to the Copyright Act mean, and how can they affect how you use copyright material? Well, the proposed reforms seek to introduce a limited liability scheme for the use of orphan works. This scheme will allow the use of copyright material where a reasonably diligent search has been undertaken, but the copyright owner cannot be identified or located, and, as far as reasonably possible, the work has been clearly attributed to the author. What constitutes a diligent search has not yet been confirmed, so it is strongly recommended for creative industries and other relevant sectors to assist in establishing guidelines around performing diligent searches. The nature of the copyright material, including the age, type of work, and amount of identifying information, are all relevant factors in what may constitute a diligent search. If the copyright owner comes forward, users will be exempt from liability for past use of the work. However, users will only be allowed to continue using the work on reasonable terms as agreed with the copyright owner or as fixed by the Copyright Tribunal. The proposed reforms will allow orphaned copyright material to be opened up and used in modern creative pursuits. Furthermore, the reform will result in larger collections of works to be increasingly accessible by libraries, archives, and educational institutions. It is anticipated that amending Australia's copyright laws in this way will encourage further creation of content and dissemination of knowledge throughout Australia. To summarise, under the current Act, orphan works are increasingly problematic as there is no specific exception for their use. The proposed reforms will allow the use of copyright material where a reasonably diligent search has been undertaken and, as far as reasonably possible, the work has been clearly attributed to the author. The reforms will allow orphan copyright material to be used for modern creative pursuits and will likely encourage further creation of content in Australia.